Hello, it's John Heaton, and today I'm going to vent a few frustrations about a few things. I hope it doesn't come across as too negative. I don't generally like to make negative videos, but there's a few things which annoyed me recently. But before I do that, I just want to say that the book I'm writing with James Griffiths on the Beatles solo videos is coming along nicely. We've had a bit of a surge of momentum recently. We're well over 50,000 words, so hopefully we'll get that published before Christmas at least, if not before. So that's that. I mentioned last time that I did a discussion with Matt Williamson on his channel Pop Goes the 60s on the Mind Games album. That has been published, so it's available on Matt's channel, Pop Goes the 60s. I haven't checked it out myself yet, but I will do. Just regarding Mind Games, I was a bit upset by a few comments on Facebook, not necessarily aimed at me, although one of them was, because one of them was on my channel, but there was a more generic comment posted by Beach Boys and Beatles 101 channel. He was basically saying, started off by praising Sean, saying, brilliant marketing strategy by sending a free copy of the Mind Games box set to all the YouTubers. Basically, in the process, he was arguing that intimidating us YouTubers to write anything negative because we're so chuffed to get the thing for free, so we would never say anything objective. A few people on his page did point out that, you know, the idea of sending out a review copy is not exactly new. It's been done for the last 50 years or 100 years, if not more. Trying to get the press on your side is an age-old thing that people have done. Not that I count myself as press, but it's similar in concept, trying to get people to say good things about your album, which is before it's come out. Nothing strange about it, and nothing manipulative about it. This same channel, this Beach Boys Beatles channel, said that he was upset that Sean was controlling John's legacy, and he argued that Julian should be jointly sort of in control with Sean. Well, as far as I can make out, Sean and Julian themselves are not arguing about that, so why should other people? I mean, if they can reconcile the fact that Sean's in charge, and I'm perfectly okay with it myself, by the way, then what's the problem? Several remarks by this same channel saying by remixing the album, it's going against John's wishes because he'd produced it in the first place. Well, I don't think, I think some people, even John was saying he was not very proud of the album, and I'm sure he'd be the first to admit that the production could have been improved, and had he lived, he probably would have gone back and improved it himself. Yoko did a fine job improving it 20 odd years ago, and now Simon Hilton and Rob Stevens and Paul Hicks have done the same, and it's superlative. It's transformed the album versus the original slightly muddy production. So nothing wrong with that. What else? Yes, someone was saying on my channel that John, don't give a deliberately favourable review of this album when you know it's crap, just because you got a freebie, just because you hope to get freebies from the John Lennon estate. Well, if I didn't like this album, I would say so, even if I'd received a free copy. There's plenty of videos on my channel where I pointed out albums I don't like, such as Give My Regards to Broad Street, or songs I don't like from Paul, such as Biker Like an Icon or English Tea. And there's even a couple of songs on Mind Games I'm still not very fond of at all. And I don't mind pointing that out. But the idea that because I get sent this box set, I'm going to just sort of wax superlative about it and say nothing negative is ridiculous. I'm honest enough to admit, actually, I'm not sure if I said it in my review when I reviewed the box, but if I hadn't been sent it, I'm not at all sure if I would have sort of forked out for it myself, because I'm at the stage in my life where I need to stop acquiring more material possessions, because it's got ridiculous. Just had my house kind of repainted and got some new furniture to house my vinyl, because it was all over the floor, a lot of it. Some of it was in a cupboard and some of it was on the floor. So now I've got these two neat sort of cabinets holding sort of 12 boxes of vinyl shaped boxes to hold the vinyl, and literally I filled them all up along with my CDs. There's no more room. So I really got to stop buying, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to compromise. I'm not going to buy any new vinyl because I think that is a complete rip-off. I mean, these days you literally have to pay, if you go to England, you have to pay 35 quid for new vinyl. Here in Hungary you can just about get it for 25 quid. But things like, we were trying to pick up the Stone Roses' second album for my son Tommy, and it was in FOP in Piccadilly, but they were charging 50 quid for it. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. So new vinyl, not sure what's happened there, but I'm going to sort of knock it on the head, because and even my second-hand vinyls got out of hand. I mean, think of how many of my favourite albums I've got multiple copies of. I mean, take Mind Games, for example. I think I've got at least 4 copies of Mind Games, including a gatefold Yugoslav copy, which is interesting. Pretty sure I've got a German copy. And Walls and Bridges, I've certainly got 3 or 4 of. Imagine the same. Beatles for Sale, I've got at least 5 copies. Dutch pressing, English mono, English stereo, Japanese pressing. Let It Be, I think I've got 7 or 8. Bound on the Run, several. London Town, several. So it's got a bit ridiculous. I mean, what I'm doing is I'm not replicating, in the case of London Town, I'm not getting 5 UK pressings. I'm making sure that each copy I get is a different country. So, for example, with London Town, I've got Canada, US, UK, Germany, Italy, Spain, Japan, Argentina. The list goes on. So that's how I justify it to myself, but even that is a little bit ridiculous when I think about it. David Jenner, don't get too upset. So I'm going to try and cut down, but if I do see something particularly attractive in a second-hand shop, I'll probably still go for it, but I've really got to be careful how much stuff I acquire. And for example, I had to give away about 100 books because I just literally had no room to store them in my house anymore. So I just took them down to the second-hand bookshop and just gave them away. I've got fond memories of checking out second-hand record shops I used to travel quite a lot with my job, and also without sort of for holidays and stuff. I don't do it so much anymore. But I remember visiting some superb shops around the world. New York City, Colony Records on Broadway, I remember that, sadly closed down now. There was a great shop in Aberdeen, I can't remember the name of it, a couple of good shops in Aberdeen. Budapest, quite a few, I wouldn't like to name my favourite. Spent 5 years in rugby at school, and Berwick's record shop was an outstanding introduction for me to a lot of things. I remember buying Fleetwood Mac records and Beatles records back for the first time back in the late 70s, early 80s. Exeter University, I remember Caterpillar Records, no longer, sadly, along with most of these shops, no longer in existence, but that was a great little second-hand shop. London Town, of course, we've got Notting Hill Gate Record and Tape Exchange, big favourite of mine back in the day, and then the 2 shops in Berwick Street more recently, Sister Ray and Reckless Records, brilliant. The other thing I want to have a bit of a complaint about is anti-Yoko messaging on some of these Facebook groups, and also when we post YouTube videos connected with Yoko, we tend to get quite a few people sort of laying into her. Well, I would just like to say I have immense respect for John and Yoko's relationship, and for Yoko Ono as a person. And she's been vindicated to a large extent, sort of artistically, by the fact that she's got a huge exhibition at Tate Modern in London, running for 6 months, still going now actually, and it's receiving tremendous acclaim for that. So I can imagine John would have been absolutely dead chuffed by that. Yeah, you don't have to like her music if you don't want, but I mean, at least respect the relationship they had. It wasn't all rosy, it wasn't all sort of hunky-dory all the time, but she was the love of his life, and she was together with him while they were making and writing the songs for this album, although the Beach Boys guy says that that's kind of manufactured by Sean by taking very early takes when she was sort of featured in the studio, and the whole album was recorded in 5 days in early August, and Yoko's very evident in all of the outtakes and the sessions. And all of the songs, if you listen to them, are all love songs for Yoko. She's even on the cover, although some people interpreted that as John walking away because he's here in the front cover, and he's closer to the camera, further away from the Yoko mountain on the back cover, but I didn't read that into it at all. But people will read into it things whatever angle they want to see. It's a bit disappointing, but anyway, I think one should always remember on YouTube and on Facebook that, you know, we don't all have the same opinion, and that's fine, and it would be very boring if we did, but let's respect each other's opinion and not come down like a ton of bricks on someone who disagrees with you. And I remember when I was doing the sort of favourite albums of all time, or favourite Lennon albums, or favourite Elton, more or less every time I do a list like that, people say, no way, you should have included this, or you should have included that. Well, sorry to say, not sorry, it's my list, not yours. If you want to do your list, go ahead, but don't expect my list to coincide with yours, even remotely, although it may do, and if it does, great. If it doesn't, so be it. It's my opinion. Nothing more, nothing less. Anyway, hope that doesn't come across as too much of a rant. Have a good rest of the day. Thank you for watching. See you next time.